king, I am not a god, I am Humpday!
What's good, YouTuber? In today's video, I will show you how to build your Lavos Prime the Alchemist for level 9199 Steel Path enemies in Warframe. But first, let me show you what this Warframe capable of at level cap. Let's go. And welcome back, Tano. I hope you enjoyed the speedrun. As always, before I build a weapon or warframe, I rely on my method called DVS. D stands for how I'll be dealing damage, what faction I'll be fighting, and what elements I'll be using. V stands for how I proc 10 stacks of viral to make enemies vulnerable by 325% more damage to their HP. S stands for how I strip enemies armor. We don't care about armor, but we care about the damage reduction that comes with armor. We lower that, we deal higher damage to enemies. And as always, we take beginners friendly approach explaining Lavos for the Thanos that doesn't know anything about Lavos. Starting with his passive. Energy and Universal Orbs gives Lavos statue immunity for 10 seconds. Really good passive. Hold any ability to imbue the next cast with additional elemental damage and statues. Means every ability he has, it gives one specific statue element, okay? If you hold it, you will buff your ability, any one of them, okay, with that element you choose. Now, first ability called Ophidian Bite. Lash out with toxic serpentine strike, consuming the target to heal Lavos. If you hold, gives you toxin. It doesn't consume energy, and Lavos doesn't have any energy, but he has cooldown. Now, Vile Rush. You dash forward, crushing through enemies and leaving an icy trail of broken vial, some sort of CC. Hold to imbue the next ability cast with Cold. It doesn't consume energy, and it has a cooldown. The Transmutation Probe, launch a probe that converts health and energy orb into universal orbs, synergize good with his passive, and the ammo pickups into universal ammo pickups. So it works, pistol works with the sniper, sniper works with whatever. The probe shocks enemies in close proximity, very good CC. Each electrocuted foe reduces other ability cooldown by 1.5 seconds. Really good to reduce the cooldowns in there. Hold to imbue the next ability cast with electricity. The fourth ability, his ultimate, Catalyze. Catalyze to probes erupt from Lavos and those competent in Fury Gel. Damage is doubled for each element inflicting the enemy, and it can be from anything, from your primary, from your secondary. The theory here is you synergize Catalyze with Sedo. That's the whole idea here, but you can go for Epitaph or whatever. And hold to imbue the next ability cast with Heat. And if each element the enemy has, it will increase the damage of this ability by 100%, and so on. Now, of course, you can combine the elements here. If you hold Toxin and then you hold the Cold, you get Viral. If, for example, you hold the Toxin and then you hold the Electricity, you get Corrosive. If you hold Electricity and then you hold the Heat, you get Radiation, and so on and so on and so on. But you need to remember that when you get any element, it doesn't matter, imbued or combined imbued, you can use it only one time. Okay, so remember that. So you need to keep going and going if you want higher stacks. And now when it comes to Lavos augments, the game doesn't show all of them. There is two. First, the Ophidian Bite. It has an augment called Swift Bite. Ophidian Bite augment reduce ability cooldown by 4 seconds when at least 4 enemies are hit. Ophidian Bite is granted 30% additional ability range. The other one that the game doesn't tell you it exists, which is this one right here, and hope DE updates and stuff. But passive augment. Casting an ability imbued with extra elemental damage applies that element as 200% bonus to your weapon with guaranteed status for 20 seconds, and that 20 seconds is affected by ability duration as well. Makes this augment like best in slow. In the meaning of, it doesn't matter what element you mod your weapon with, you can get even more elements using the valence formation. Depends on the enemy you're fighting. And there is one more thing you need to know about Lavos, that the efficiency modifies ability cooldown reduction granted by transmutation probe, which is the third ability. And then you got that statue duration modifies the duration of any status dealt by Lavos with either abilities or weapons. Makes it really amazing. And here we are, starting with the very basics. The first ability, you slap the enemies, there you go, they get toxin in there. Easy as that. The second ability, you dash forward and you make like a trail of cold, and it actually freezes the enemies. Third ability, you throw like this thing that procs electricity on enemies. And fourth ability will give heat on those enemies. But the fourth ability gets a damage increase based on how many stats on the enemies. That's why we're gonna talk about the Lavos nuking build later on in the video. Now, what makes Lavos amazing also, if you imbue any element and then you use any of the abilities, it doesn't lose its base element. For example, the first ability gives us toxin, right? If I hold, it will imbue my abilities attacks with toxin. Now you'd say if I use the third ability, it will become toxin. No, it will remain electricity and it will give you toxin as well. Check this out. See that? So it doesn't matter with what you imbue your Lavos with, it will the base element of that ability will remain plus the imbue. So for example, if your ability gives electricity and you imbue it with viral, it will be electricity and viral. Okay, it will not combine and does all that crazy shenanigans. Simple as that. And you can combine the first one with the second one for viral and so on and so on. But you can use it only once. For example, you can't keep viral imbued in there and you keep spamming the abilities and all of them will be viral. No, it will not work like that. But you can benefit from the augment that we just talked about. Let me show it to you really quick. So what we do here, we choose any element we want. We equip the augment first, right here. And then we choose any elements we want. For example, let's say our weapon is modded for viral and we want corrosive. We use the first ability and then the third ability, we got corrosive. Now I use the first ability or any ability to attack and then I will get this buff right here. Violence formation, increase elemental damage and statue effect from last ability, and this is corrosive. So my attacks will have corrosive like you see right there. You understand? Easy. Now remember, the helminth ability on this build is replaceable and you can replace it with any helminth ability that fits your playstyle. More shield recharge, you can go for pillage or condemn. You want to distract enemies, you can go for resonator. You want viral, you can go for nourish, or you can go for full nourish and armor strip with tempest barrage. You can go for gloom to slow down enemies, but you need more strength on the build. And pretty much that's it. Alright, but feel free to experiment with more helminth abilities and let me know in the comments below. Now, if you don't like my methods on how I'll be armor stripping and proccing viral on enemies, you can check the sheet right here. It can help you move around my methods to find your own style. As in Warframe, you can do the same thing in many different ways, but the result is the same. Now, starting with the archon shards. 2 emerald archon shards to push the stacks of corrosive from 10 to 14. How corrosive works? There is 10 stacks. The first stack will armor strip enemies by 26%. Every stack after will armor strip enemies with 6%. 10 stacks equal to 80% armor strip. With 2 emerald archon shards, we can push the stacks from 10 to 14 to 100% armor strip enemies without relying on any helminth ability or focus school to do so. Then I'm running 2 ability duration Tau Forged. They don't have to be Tau Forged. You can run them normal ones, or if you don't have the red ones, it's okay. I left you 1 archon shard in here to fit wherever you want. Casting speed, topaz, whatever you want. Melee. You choose what you want. The helminth ability I'm going to be using is Quiver. Now you would say, why Quiver, Hank? Quiver makes you invisible, and this guy doesn't have any shield gating mechanics, and he needs some sort of ability, and there is nothing better than actually going invisible to survive, as his kit requires a minute, not a minute exactly, but a second for you to decide what element or to imbue or to hit the enemies, and so on and so on and so on. And I deliver builds to make it comfortable for everyone without struggling and so much synergies. Now, going for the build, starting with the aura. Worthy camaraderie. Squad receives 75% weak point critical chance increase. You can replace it, depends on the weapon you are using, or you can use hostile amp or whatever. It's not written on stone. Prime sure-footed is 400 login day reward. It's very bad, I know, and I highly recommend. I highly ask DE. Please put it on the Baroque tier so all Thanos have access to that. Now, if you don't have Prime Sure-Footed, it's okay. There is other ways for knockdown resistance. You can use the normal Sure-Footed. You can use the Power Drift. But my favorite is Hand Spring. or you can use the sure-footed, and then you can use the fortifier. Where is it? Fortitude, sorry. Fortitude for 40% and normal sure-footed for 60%. That's 100%, and plus shield recharge. But it doesn't really work. Just go for handspring. Primary redirection for shield capacity, and we're reaching 2.5 shield gating. Now, what is shield gating in Warframe? Really simple. When you lose your shields in Warframe, you don't die. You enter gate phase, you become invulnerable. That invulnerability is affected by how much shields you have. The more you have, the more invulnerable you will be. Invulnerable means you will become a god mode. You cannot die. And after the duration ends, you didn't regenerate any shields, you're pretty much dead because enemies have access to your HP. And some enemies can hit you with toxin, which bypass your shield and your gate, and you're pretty much dead if you don't cleanse yourself with some ability or roll guard. That's shield gate. Now, Vigilant Vigor, shield recharge minus shield recharge delay, and enhance critical hits from primary weapons. Fast deflection for shield recharge minus shield recharge delay. Stretch for ability range. Rolling guard to cleanse yourself from any negative statue effect and become invulnerable for 3 seconds. Balance formation of the augment. Swift by the augment. Primed continuity for duration. Arcane Aegis for the 30% shield recharge. Really a key in here, and it's available from Belly of the Beast when I'm releasing this video. Otherwise, you will have to buy it from other players or you farm it. Now, Arcane Precision is optional, depends on the weapon you're using. Primary, switch it to primary. You want melee, switch it to melee. Secondary, keep this one. And so more strength, more augmented, and etc, etc. Alright? And as I said, this build works with almost anything because it has high duration and it has 145% range. The strength is a bit low, but you can replace the 2 archon shards for more strength, and you can replace the precision with more strength, and depends on what style of build you're going for. And don't worry, I will show you both builds if you're looking for nuking. And now for companions, we're running Nautilus Prime, and this is the build. Cordon to pull enemies, vacuum for the loot, assault to attack, guardian to boost owner shield by 100% when it runs out, manifold for more cordon, and then you got shield in here, tenacious bond for critical damage. If your sentient weapon reaches 50% plus critical chance, Verglass if you have a Riven, or run one of the burst rifles. Shield charger, increase Warframe max shield and shield regeneration by 60% for 10 seconds, reinforced bond for fire rate, primary regen, sentient recover time reduced by 35 seconds, sorry. Verglass Prime, this is the build if you have a Riven or not, it doesn't matter, the Verglass Prime is still the best sentient weapon in the game. But without Verglass Prime, Tenacious Bond will not be effective. So you want to switch it to something else. For example, Prime Laser Rifle, Burst Laser Prime, or the Volclock. Totally up to you. Now, how does build work? First thing, you need to understand your weapons, what they are modded for. For example, my dual Toxicist is modded for viral. So, I go invisible, and then I hold the first ability Toxin, hold the third ability I imbued with Corrosive, and then I hit any ability I want, and boom, I get the Corrosive buff for my weapons. No, you cannot mix a lot of elements for one weapon buff, if that's what you want to ask. There you go. Now I can hit viral and corrosive at the same time. That's the V and the S at the same time. So you'd say, Hank, where comes the other abilities? The other abilities, my friend, comes here. Third ability will go as electricity like so to lower the cooldown of your other abilities. And the fourth ability as well will go and proc hits in there, and the damage will be increased, depends on how much elements you have in there. And think of it as you are using a condition overload from your melee weapons on those enemies to benefit from, like the CO for guns, etc, etc. So any elements in there is a benefit and a bonus for you, like so. Boom, corrosive active, and they are pretty much dead. Now remember, the fourth ability affected by how much elements you have on the enemies. It will increase 100% more damage per element, but of course you can nuke even level cap with it, but it will require a lot of work, and that's what we're going to talk about now. And let's start first with the nuke build. So, Mecha Empower and Mecha Pulse is the change in here. And of course, you can run more strength in here, but I thought about your survivability. And of course, you can remove Arcane Precision and replace with more augmented. But let's go really like to the basics, okay? Really the basics, nothing fantasy, nothing crazy. So, how the nuke work? Look here. Squad deals 150% extra damage against a marked enemy. You need to mark the enemy using your kubrow. Right about here. So I will be using, for example, the Harass kubrow right about here. And this is the build. Mecha Charger here, etc, etc. And this Harass kubrow build in the channel, and it managed to kill level cap by itself. And this is the clothes I'll be using. Alright. So, how this works exactly. And I'm not using any helminth ability. So, running roar or whatever you want. That's totally up to you. I'm here to give you the simple and basics of things, and then you can inspire and expand them yourself. Add a bit more strength, choose a helmet ability like roar, and you're pretty much good to go. So how this actually work? You need a primer. So for example, let's take Sedu as an example to prime enemies with, and as you can see, the enemy is marked. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna choose an element. For example, let's pick let's say blast, for example, but Sedu has blast, whatever. So we go like this, boom. So we prime all the enemies, and that affected my 4th ability damage, and boom. Now they will be dying eventually, and there you go. All of them disappeared, and that's how you nuke as Lavos. Really easy and really simple. Don't get confused. They keep dying actually, even I am not casting any. So let's try another element. For example, I go heat and toxin for gas. Perfect choice, and one of my favorites actually. Then you go Sedu like so, and then we use the 3rd ability if we want to, and then another Sedu proc, and then 4th ability. Boom. And they're dead, they just don't know it yet. So, boom. And that's it. As you can see there, the dotting is really insane. Summon again heavy corrupted gunners. Go. Boom. As you can see, to keep going with this, you need to know there is cooldowns you need to handle, and at level cap, you know, it's not convenient. It's really good low to mid game, but at level cap, I don't see you doing this honestly. And of course, you can armor strip those enemies, and you make deal more damage, etc, etc, etc. As you can see there, I'm not using any element, and it's actually dealing a nice tick of damage. Okay, but of course you want to imbue it with some element. Like for example, I'm going to be using corrosive now. Let's go. Let's get corrosive active in there. Boom. There, my weapon as well got the corrosive inherited. Go, 3rd ability to get electricity, and boom. Okay, so that's pretty much the basics of nuking with Lavos, and I hope really this helps you out to nuke some enemies. In the end, I would say Lavos 7 out of 10, as it may be a bit hard for some Thanos to play, and he's a little bit clunky, and honestly, I highly recommend DE add some overguard to him, or some way of survivability to help the fact that he cannot shield gate. I'm not saying they should give him energy, but some other methods. For example, his 2nd ability make him invulnerable, like Revenant, for example, or something like that. The 2nd ability is the best when it comes to subsuming into a helmet ability. 3rd ability you can't, 1st ability you can't, 4th ability you can. Not because you cannot change them, but the fact that they are really good in his kit, and just like, I can't see myself removing any of the other abilities. But Lavos Prime is here, and I highly recommend you guys get it, and it's really fun to play different style, and I promise you, like, if you never played Lavos, it doesn't feel like any other Warframe you played before. In the end of the video, I want to say a special thanks to anyone supporting the channel by liking, subscribing, commenting, follow me on Twitch, on TikTok, on X, or joining my Discord, the link in the description if you want to join, and everyone welcome to join my clan if you want to. Now, special thanks to Hall of Members, this Willows, Wilmer Bisaba, Ernest, Arnie, Alex, Lord Hall, Yareli Main, Broken Shot, Yahya Ben Zaid, Banana Man, Julian, Jigobot, Special VIP, The Voiceless One Too, and the Undisputed Donator Free Hate, Hall of Donations Free Hate, Kali Recall Free, Victor, Mr. V, Mika West, Wilmer BC, Danto CPT, Yareli Main, Hamza, Black Magic, Banana Man, Milan, Linot, and Noob Master, and everyone in my community. I try to do my best to deliver the build as fast as possible, as I farmed Lavos. I didn't buy the Prime Access. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Sedu Prime level cap.